the version of the challenge that's actually going to be going up here. So, yeah, bit of an interesting thing here. So this is a run that's come up as a joke for a little while now. Basically going through the whole series with just mermaids and snake people. Now, that was the original plan. However, we're sticking to just the mermaid run for this particular instance because of well, mostly to that. Basically, it's kind of up in the air at the moment. This might still consist of actually doing the full 4 games in the series. Later on down the road, I'll consider adding Prince of Zenobia if I can get some actual information on it, because honestly, I'm okay with playing it in Japanese and with all of its jank and everything. But man, oh man, does that game not have any information about it, so kind of routing anything for it is a little bit weird. I mean, hell, we only have a translated intro in English at this point, so it's kind of an odd time. Animated GIF on the lower right? Oh yes. Oh, very yes. We'll see how long that stays up before there's a protest to have it removed. But anyway, so to kind of finish explaining all that, yeah, there's currently some technical issues when it comes to Luct and OV64 in terms of actually creating the full mermaid team. Because what I wanted to do oh no, not this again. For whatever reason, the controller keeps freaking out. I might ultimately just have to do this with keyboard or something. Just put away the other controller so it stopped going nuts. But anyway, but yeah, so basically with Luct, apparently turning them into Lamias just causes all Lamias in the game to disappear. It's a weird technical issue. I guess they aren't really utilized that much by the game, so sure. I think it's something to do with the fact that they only have 1 palette or something along those lines. By the way, most of these I'm just going to be selecting at random. The one that I really wanted to go for was the second one, which decides what emblem you go for. I wanted to start off with Miracle. Between the 4 of them, it's the hardest one to get. Longevity gives you Fist Fight. I think Mercy puts you automatically on Law. If you ever want a soft randomizer of Knight of Lotus, just do these questions at random. You'll get something different every time. But anyway, while the optimal setup would be, the usual speedrun setup, it starts you off with 10 strength and longsword. Honestly, you're fine one way or another. I feel like agility would probably be the big one for this one. So for anyone unfamiliar with the mechanics of these games, basically mermaids are good in water and absolute just trash in every other situation. And unlike the fairy run, they can't fly. By the way, Mr. Vale, if you're still here, how's the volume? Is this too loud? Do I need to adjust it a little bit? Volume seems good? Alright. Yeah, you know what? This game's soundtrack gets panned sometimes, but I think it's pretty dang good. It's especially considering the hardware they were working with, especially considering it was hardly a priority, I think they still did a really good job at setting the tone for this one. But yeah, starting with Knight of Lotus, just because it's the one that, it's the one I started with. I love starting off any challenge run I can with this one. If it's going to be a series-wide challenge run, it's got most of the mechanics of the series, so most of the time it's going to be a good starting point. It's relatively short. It's got so much cool little stuff that you can route in there, so that's going to be all well and good. Wonder if Rakes is going to be popping by today. Would be glad to let him know that I actually figured out a way to do the level 1 run even with the armor rebalance for 1 vision. Oh man, I'm looking forward to showing that off sometime within the next century, whenever we actually get past the current pile of challenge runs. We'll get there eventually. Oh well. Anyway, so I didn't adjust a lot of things. I adjusted basically adjusted it so that the shops will, I guess there's 1 cheat and 1 ROM modification involved in this run. Basically, the shops will turn any unit that's recruited into a mermaid, so that automatically gives them the correct stats and everything else, which is kind of cool. Apparently, the game actually derives all of their stats and everything after that point, so you get them properly as you should. So that's going to be good. And then, aside from that, I changed it so that Alphonse starts off as a mermaid class. Now, in the past, when I was modifying that, it didn't always work right, so we might just have to deal with him being normal. We'll see. Hopefully it does correctly. But we'll see how it goes. Worst case scenario, I'll just turn him into a ninja or something. Maybe limit him to only attacking in water or something. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, again, with why mermaids are considered such trash in this game, despite being one of the harder boss fights for a lot of new folks, well, it's kind of the whole thing that 2 battles after you pick up mermaids, like, most of the map is frozen over. It's just such a big middle finger. It's kind of a class that makes up a huge part of the actual plot of the game. It's like, oh man, they were terrifying, and look, you get 2 unique ones if you do that. Now, ultimately, I had to go with Pound Tuna for the name. I tried a bunch of different names, but for some reason it's limited to only 8 letters. And so finally figured, screw it, whatever, we're just going with this. So we'll see if he actually does spawn in as a mermaid or not. If you didn't know, for this one, if you use both A and B at the same time, just like most Pokemon games, it'll actually just skip the text a little bit faster. Now let's see if it crashes as soon as the game starts. I think that this is the one theme in the game that I feel like they really needed to go for a different one for the starting fight. Like, they didn't want to make it too intense, I assume, but like the sudden juxtaposition from that dramatic music into the most generic sounding battle music in the game is kind of dicey. Like, I feel of all the music choices, this is the one that they needed to have changed. I don't even have anything against this theme in particular, it's just that this particular scene, it doesn't really work. Like, I feel like maybe the arena battle music or something like that would have been a really, really strong first intro here. Yeah! It worked. Okay. So we start off with Miracle. It seems like we got a caster build, and oh my, we're having that issue again. Alright. Alright, so yeah, controller's apparently a bit jacked up today. Couldn't tell you why. It seems to be just the inputs in general. Are we really doing this, controller? Are we really doing this? Alright, so going for a shield bash here. Basically, he starts off at a higher level. You can get a little bit more experience by shield bashing him. If you go for a melee, he can knock you down to pretty low. Sometimes the AI will shoot you with a bow at that point. It's not ideal. So you don't like being able to rotate the map, but failsafe and not allowing it lets them have really nice lighting effects and background images to bring the world alive. Very true. Very true. They have those little god rays every now and then. They add in some interesting shadows every now and then. It's pretty cool. It's actually something that I really appreciated about A2 as well, because they had a similar thing where you can't really rotate it, but like just actually FFTA also. Like, I kind of lump Felseal A and A2 in the same kind of category there, because all of them have really, really nice map work. Like, they've got some really interesting maps. They've got some really interesting effects going on in those maps. Especially you got like a little wildlife going on in the background. Yeah, it's a little suspect that they're not going anywhere, but still, you know, it's nice. It's a nice thing. So pardon any weird noises, trying to get my phone charged over here. Gonna have to lean over a bunch of stuff. Still need to play FFTA 2? If you haven't played it, yes you do. And you might find it especially fascinating after Felseal. Like I was saying in the admittedly very iffily edited review there. Like, by the way, I apologize for the audio being kind of jank on that one. I couldn't tell you why. On the actual editor, it shows just fine. You may have noticed on previous stuff when I was doing actually edited videos, I think it's just some weird jank with the editor, because every time it saves it, it just has something going wrong. Alright. So we're gonna go over here, shield bash again, if it'll actually cooperate with me. There we are. And yeah, just 10 experience, or 10 to 11 experience every time, depending on what the game feels like giving you. Basically, if you do that a couple times, you end up leveling up pretty early on. Get your stats a little bit earlier. Ultimately, the net gain is you have a better chance of winding up at level 3 before you actually get your party. Kind of depends entirely on how Battle 2 goes. I forget if this is the one that had tab or space or something like that as its fast forward, or if it even had a fast forward. So, also unlike the ferry run, I don't think I'm gonna allow quest mode for this one. Mostly because that allowed for. Oh, actually, by the way, I forgot about this earlier. Speaking of quest mode and modifying the ROM and things like that, because the first ferry run ultimately ended up, face planting right at the finish line there, I figured a Mark II of that is it's probably worth doing. So I'm thinking after this, for any kind of next notable event, I think so. At this point, pretty much every unit, or rather, in most of the games, there's a way to edit it so that your main character functions like a particular class, but as long as you don't change their sprite or whatever else, it really won't matter that much. So that's basically what we're going to end up doing. Because even OB64, I believe I can actually change him into, say, a mermaid or a fairy or something like that, but technically speaking, or I mean a Lamia in that case, technically speaking, as long as his sprite hasn't changed, the game still kind of treats him normally. In the Tactics Ogre remake, it's not nearly as bad, because it basically just gives him a jumble of different stuff instead of crashing outright. There's a lot of things that'll crash that game outright, but thankfully a lot of the visual effects are not one of them. If it doesn't have any animation to load whatsoever, instead of giving you a glitch, it'll completely disappear. So a little bit of a danger there, but for the most part, we should be fine, since a lot of the stuff is made to work in multiple situations. So, for example, like in vanilla, most of the rogue skills and the fairy skills are kind of sharing the same animations and trees and everything else. So, for some reason, they decided to make animations for them. No idea why. But either way, I guess they're there as just a in case it happens type of situation. So we'll do that. That all should be all well and good. But what I want to do is a complete fairy-only run of the entire series, as in no leader units. So last time, technical limitations prevented from actually doing that. This time around, I think it can be done. Is he 3? He's 1, so yeah, we'll go ahead and shield bash this guy. And I think ultimately, yeah, I'm gonna have to ditch the controller. Yeah, you know what? I think we'll just do that right now. Because this input lag is just not ideal at all. Hang on, inputs, configure, down, left, right, A, B, LR, and select start. There we are. Not putting up with this input lag. It's not good for anyone. But yeah, so funnily enough, the main sticking point of doing the entire series this way. Actually, looking at my phone right now, looks like Lucked is back on the menu. So it's just down to whether or not I can make 64 adjust everybody to Lamias without breaking in half. So much stuff loves to crash that game. It's a little bit frustrating. And there we go. Now, funnily enough, the AI will never get the self-preservation emblem. At least before the tutorial is finished. No idea why. Not sure if they thought it would spoil something or what, but oh well. And then some plot occurs. Smash the buttons. Clackety keyboard says hi. Yeah. Don't forget, water is the essence of wetness. It is the essence of beauty, which is why we're going to go take a swim in it. Yes. Become beautiful. Become the moisture. I think it's part of the aesthetic of this game that always kind of appealed to me. Because I kind of grew up in Florida, except a whole lot of water going on around there. Always hated the heat. I kind of had this grew up in a house growing up that was very well shaded at the time, at least until it was kind of mandated for all the trees to be taken down. It was pretty cozy there. It was like one of the like one of those cases where you kind of grow up in a situation where, thinking back, pretty much every situation that you remember had a much, much worse connotation if you really think about it. But you know what? You know what? At least the memories are there, even if they're a lie. Which, I mean, I guess is basically the plot of Vagrant's story, if you think about it. Huh. Doesn't come with as many superpowers as you'd think. Man, I wonder if wonder if there's any kind of class editors for Vagrant's story just somehow working into this. Play through the entire thing as a fish. By the way, neat little detail here that they completely didn't need to do. If you looked out the window there, you can actually see the coastline, and you can actually see the foam on the water. Like, every time that's every time this game comes up, I just love to mention the sheer amount of detail that went into everything here. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how much love they put into this game. Like, especially considering that it basically gets thrown in the dumpster by the creator of the series, you know? It's like, man, they put so much into here that they didn't even have to, and you won't even give it a chance because you didn't get a chance to write it. Element, what's that? I'm a fish, I don't know any better. Funnily enough, actually asking her about the elements, surprisingly doesn't dump you into a massive tutorial. You can just kind of mash through it. See, like, this particular piece of music works really well here. So, like, as far as that first pirate fight, I don't think that could have worked there. But really, the arena battle music, that would have been the best. Not to mention, it would have been a pretty neat intro to this game, or this particular challenge, because that's also the Mermaid boss battle music. Now, out of curiosity, am I getting my land penalties here? See, because at this low of a level, it might not make too much of a difference. Like, I think his protagonist stats are kind of sticking out here. Because he's actually doing pretty comparable damage to just going in there normally. But the mermaids are only slightly viable for, at most, the first half of the game. Like, in the very early game, the 50% drop in stats isn't... Again, it isn't as noticeable, just because, obviously, everything's pretty low-key right now. Once we get to the water maps, they'll end up being kind of strong for about 2 or 3 fights, and then after everything freezes over, that's the point at which we can expect to die to archers pretty much constantly. So that'll be fun. That'll be all well and neat. Now, for anyone that also might be thinking what I was talking about earlier in regards to redoing the mosquito run, if you might be thinking, like, well, how do you come up with the fact that in two of the 4 games fairies literally can't even attack, or at least can't attack for most of the game? I don't know. That part I'm still figuring it out. Like, March of the Black Queen, Wow, that was some serious English there for a second. That part, I am still doing the figuring it out. Great, fantastic. But no. Still working on that one. I'm not entirely sure, because I'm thinking if they just repeatedly go into the same fight long enough, and maybe do the whole Joker cannon approach, there's maybe the possibility of turning one of them to a Seraph or something. Couldn't tell you how exactly that would end up landing with their charisma and everything else, though. It's like, as long as there's any character that can attack whatsoever, then there's maybe an option. But it would pretty much take something along the lines of taking all of the fairy stats and attributes, and essentially modifying the ROM, which I think I can do with Nightmare Tools. It's like basically taking all their attributes and just applying it to the main character, applying it to one of the main leader classes, so probably Knights or something. And probably changing all their stat growths to be like that too. So they would look like something else, and the game wouldn't recognize that anything was wrong. It would just apply the stats that it's been given. I feel like that should work. But again, it's kind of that issue of actually getting them up to a high enough level to actually be able to attack. Let me double check what that level is real quick. I want to say it was 15 until they can attack. Like in March of the Black Queen, they're basically the Magikarp unit, so... like, as soon as they can attack, they're at least somewhat passable. They still pretty much die to, a stiff breeze, but still. Say an ammo to BQ. Actually, no, you know what? No, they actually can attack. I forgot, the front line has a slap. So, you'd basically be stuck using, slaps for a very long time. Oh, jeez. Ah, jeez. You know what? I want to do it. I want to make it happen somehow. So, like, Mr. Bailey, you were talking about doing the proper fairy run. Do it with just slaps. We don't even get the laser guns until late in the game. Sounds like the real way to do it. Now here, you see one of the other main limitations of being a mermaid, though. The fact that we've basically got no movement range whatsoever. Oh, hang on, be right back. One moment. Alrighty, and back. Will you make Jason Momoa the mermaid? Dang straight I will. So yeah, anybody that's got any good fish names, mermaid names, whatever else, basically what's going to be allowed is going to be allowed to use just basically mermaids and two... I'm going to say let's limit it to 2 octopi. Actually, no, screw it. Why limit the octopi? They suck anyway. So yeah, it's just mermaids and octopi. Just anything aquatic, basically. And then yeah, those mermaids will become land mermaids with Lamias and things like that for luck to Nobi 64. Again, provided I can get those working. For now, we're saying that this is going to be at least KOL and March of the Black Queen. Let's see. Mark von Rosen is the guy with the Hulk Hogan mustache who keeps sending reports to the U.S. about a race of pygmy manatees on the Amazon. Manatees are mermaids? I mean, people used to look at manatees and think, yeah, I want to get busy with that, so... Why not? Of course, that being said, there's a lot of weird situations of people just looked at X, Y, or Z and were like, you know what? Want to get naked with that? Why not? Oh, this is a great plan. Like, I was watching this documentary, I want to say like 6 years ago or something like that, over a group, like, little subset of folks that apparently exist, who, for whatever reason, decide to be interested in that way in their cars. Which, I mean, if that's a Lamborghini, sure, but it's always like everybody in that particular instance just had like an old rusty Taurus or something like that. It's like, why can't you just like your car? Why do you have to take it farther than that? Like, is there a muffler involved here? How does this work? It's confusing. Alright, anyway. So now's the time. Now's the time for all your fish names. Go ahead and throw them out there. Let's see, Spherinidae is actually a genus of hammerhead sharks, so using my name is semi-scientific. This one's limited to... basically, it's limited to only a few... Yeah, let's see if male soldier will actually work for this. So for Momoa... Now we'll go with water. It's limited to 8 characters, sorry, that's what I was trying to say. Right. Okay, so I hire them there, and what happens? Oh, I misspelled it? Ah, crap. Well, that's fine, because we gotta reload it anyway, because it didn't work right. I remember there was some weird glitch with this cheat last time, so let me double check something here. Cheats. List cheats. Fish mode is on. It's gonna be silent for just a second, because let me pull up the list of cheats again. I just want to point out the fact that TacticsOgre.com is Knight of Lotus and not the other Tactics Ogre. Always kind of cracked me up. Also, for anyone wondering, yeah, it's completely still up. Like, every part of it still functions. Alright, let's add another cheat. Fish mode 2, generic code. Yeah, this is Game Shark. Oh, okay, I know what happened. Alright. Because I didn't identify it as Game Shark or Codebreaker. So now if we go to the shop, now it should work. I make them level 3. We can only hire a few of them right now. So we're going to be running a little bit of a deficit for a little bit. Let's see, Momoa, there we go. Do I have it right this time? Sturgeon, pike, halibut. Yes. Alright, got it spelled correctly this time. Yeah, I mean, the old Tactics Ogre site, it's just weird, because I used to visit this when I was a kid. And I tried reaching out to the creator of the site, you know, seeing if they were still around. Because obviously somebody's still paying for it, but... Okay, Momoa, the chaotic fish soldier. Alright, let me see if it worked this time. Alright. Further testing is required. They might be coded to need to be a female soldier. And yeah, I think they show up in that menu if you do it right. Let me try one more thing here. Yeah, it's a little bit of an unusual process, because in most cases you just use them. Oh, it would help if I enabled it, huh? I suppose that would be a good, solid first step in making them work. Derp. Alright. I believe they would have showed up in that menu if I did it right, and yes. Good works. It says you recruited that class, yeah. Yeah, it's been a year. Alright, well, anyway, let's see here. Let's cheats. Just activate them both. One of them ought to do it. Let's load it up. It might also not have activated simply because it needs to have its data loaded. No, don't hire Maverick. Alright. Let's double check another thing here. Give me that cheats menu. Alright, that'll be Game Shark. And that'll be Codebreaker. We have the option here. First of all, let me just save state this thing so it's not causing issues. Second of all, where's my... Is there a reset or something? Hawkman plus mermaid equals flying fish? Why not? Okay, hang on. Let me take a quick look here, see what I'm missing. Alright. So once a class code is activated, simply go to the nearest city and hire the class you would like any other. Start by hiring a soldier since it's the cheapest class, and choose the desired starting level, element, and name. Now the desired class will appear with the appropriate stats instead of the soldiers, which, again, still appreciate that the game does that. Finish hiring the characters that would appear in your roster. The Demon, Duke Knight, and Dark Angel and Bandit will freeze the game if they use Atropos, Clotho, or Lachesis. Don't have the enemy classes try to persuade either. The Doll will freeze the game if it does anything other than move in battle. The Gorgon runs Evil Eye at 15, in case you wanted to know. Okay, cool. And I know this worked last time, so I don't know why it's not. Alright, let's try this. Let's take close, go ahead and reopen it. Yeah, sorry. I'm just getting this all set up here. We have to enable the cheat, save game, and do a soft reset. Oh, well, looks like we got to about that same point there. Alright. Now, is the cheat still activated? Cheats already activated. Although, the soft reset, yeah, the soft reset doesn't actually... Doesn't allow the cheats to be saved for some reason. Although, if I recall correctly, hang on, let me check one thing here. Just gonna save the cheat list. See if it works now. KG Sardine. Now, so when I was first setting up the file, the first fish joke that came to mind was the pounding tuna gag from DBZA. Still doesn't work. E-tap, yeah. Lotus was the all behind E-tap the entire time. I mean, I figure while I'm here, we might as well hire an octopus. Clearly need a fire elemental octopus. And Aw. Alright, we'll see you. See you, Sferwa. Charlie Tuna is the rapper in the shark costume Jurassic 5. We know something. Well, I guess this one's name is Charlie then. There we go, Charlie the octopus. Alright, well you go ahead and do that, Mr. Sferwa. I mean, it'll be up by tomorrow afternoon over on the YouTube side there. And just like last time, not allowing any resurrections. So we'll go ahead and get that out of here. OB64 would be the exception, since, you know, petrification nonsense. Alright. Now let's double check stuff. So the one that I'm using is Game Shark. Let me double check that. Yeah, that one's listed as Game Shark. This one's listed as Codebreaker. Alright, so we got those saved. Go ahead and save it. Overwrite it. There we go. Do you want to replace it? Yes. Now then. They're all activated. Already automatically activated. So shouldn't be the reason. So go ahead and close it. Go ahead and quit out of it. Maybe we have to do a complete reset here in order for all these things to work. Like I said, this emulator is not the best by any means. But it's okay. We'll eventually actually get the challenge started. Remember, this took a hot minute last time. All right, open recent. Open this friggin' thing. Probably have to redo all my controls because it's just like that. How about that? It remembered its controls. And it didn't remember the cheat list, though. Alright. Sure, there we go. Enable cheats. So we go to higher. Alright, what gives? No, don't hire. Come on now. What must I do to get you to work? What the hell am I missing here? Alright, let me check something else. I wonder if because I made him into a mermaid, if that's causing me a potential issue here. So let's say a Gorgon, right? This is, what, the Codebreaker one? Go to Tools, go to Cheats. Switch over to Codebreaker. I have one potential other idea if this doesn't work. There we go, let's get that out of here. Alright, so we have that code in there. Okay, so we know for a fact that it's just not working right. Okay. Oop, crap. Apparently escape apparently closes the entire thing out. Well, that's a good thing to find out now before I accidentally hit it later. Okay. So maybe not the greatest start so far, I will admit. Probably should have double-checked all this beforehand. But you know what? It's been a busy week. Alright, so other potential ideas here. I'll load up that cheat list. Not overwrite it. Instead, we open up the cheat list. Take the Game Shark, make it Codebreaker. Turn off the second one, and then we'll try that in the other way around. This shouldn't work, technically speaking. Although I remember something stupid like this working last time. Okay, that works apparently. Oh, those trash stats. Definitely don't hire that. Alright. So, finally we're down to business, so. First off, number 3. Make you water element. Got Momoa. It's like it just knows, so turn him chaotic. Next we need Halibut. I feel like that'd be a very earth-based fish. However, that makes sense. Now, before you say, you know, what about their scaling? What about their water moves and things like that? They don't actually get water moves. They have, I believe, one technically wind element, though it doesn't matter, sleep move, and basically nothing else. Other than that, they can stab stuff with a spear. They say that we've made a good choice. They're mistaken. I'm not really sure why I can't level them up anymore, but okay. Alright, and what else do we need here? Was that Spheromonade or something like that? Because we already have a Charlie the Octopus. I mean, we can go Flyfish. Pike is pretty awesome. Right, what was that mermaid manatee? Ruslan? Ruslan it is. Alright, there we go. So it'll be several more levels before we even get the option to use that sleep move. Basically what we are at this point is just trash of the highest order, and that's it. Alright, so we're gonna have to get rid of all these generics on the team. Alright, so plan right now, I want to see if I can get the Dragon Shield. Did you ever finish the One Fist challenge? Ended up deciding to put that for another day. Because I think it can be done. I mostly was just stuck in a weird spot. Or wait, by One Fist, are you... were you around that long? Because are we talking about the solo fist-only run of this one? Or are we talking about the One Vision run from the other day? Just realized that I should probably clarify that. And yeah, any challenges that are happening, I know I do a ton of them at the same time. They do eventually get done. You know. Eventually. So we have 2 drop tiles that we technically have access to at this point, though one of them I don't think I'll ever be able to access now that I'm thinking about it. And I can't actually access this one because they don't have enough jump height for it. Because they need a jump height of at least 3, and, well, they certainly don't have it, so... Well, that's fantastic. Alright, goodbye, Alos and Flaros. But why? I did my best. I know you did. You're just not around for this one. Also, the sound that nobody ever hears in this game. Beep beep beep. Nikita the rocket launcher. And Furson the archer that nobody keeps as an archer. Yeah, I already knew it was a slacker. Well, at least he knew what was coming. Alright. Let's see if we can hire one more just to make them at least somewhat usable. For some reason we got a random graphical glitch going on over there. Get rid of the staff because I'm not going to be using it. Ideally we'd want to get spears, but I don't have them. I might as well sell spell books because I can't actually ever use them. Okay, well, went back into YouTube. Gotcha. Yeah, so that one ended up, it ended up getting stuck in a weird scheduling time, so it didn't end up getting finished. But I will be going back to that one at some point. Because it's one I'd love to do. Right, get rid of magic leaves, because again, we can't use those. I don't have enough to level up. By the way, Fotis, fish name. Need a fish name. And by the way, for anyone wondering, yes, I did try to see if blue steel would fit into the name. No, you can't put blue steel in there. I guess technically I could have put, like, BL steel or something. Ah, whatever. Went with pound tuna instead. Gonna wait a few more seconds and see if you got a fish name. Otherwise, I think we're probably just gonna go with blue steel. It's blue steel. Alright, so, here's the deal. As it stands, all of these guys are pretty terrible. However, they kind of need access to at least some decent weaponry. And the best weapon that you can get is within yourself the whole time. So the best weapon you can get early on is actually the fist fight emblem. So we're just going to go into training here. I wish I could afford to get one more. Probably shouldn't have picked up that octopus yet, but whatever. He's our token octopus. Now, this is probably just going to result in, you know, the octopus beating everybody. Actually, yeah, no, we're going to put you in here, we're going to put you in here. Going to take you out. Nah, it's all good. Now, since Celia Beach is already claimed by the fairy team, we're going to be going with this. And we're just going to set them both to AI and have them punch the hell out of each other. Yes, this does technically give them a bit higher level than they technically should have. Thankfully, Nightilotus does a pretty good job with all that. There we go. They'll just do it all themselves now. I forget if this emulator actually has a fast forward mode. There we go. Let's turbo it. For some reason, there's no toggle for it. You just gotta click on it. But anywho, like I was saying, so So this game's pretty good about its scaling. Generally speaking, everything will scale down to where it's supposed to be, up until you get to a certain point. Like if you've got a Snapdragon or something like that, where you're just way above it, like you're going to be doing pretty all right. If you're in a situation like this, where you're basically just having a character you're learning to punch or something like that, most stuff is capped out in terms of what it can realistically do. Most stuff also has a bit of a minimum assigned to it, so generally stuff stays where it needs to be. Now, obviously, punching everything is not going to be super ideal, but it does allow for getting access to the fist fight emblem. So it says it just increases your fist damage. It's supposed to be there for archers, since... Oh, there we go. We'll probably get Book of Initiation as well, though that doesn't really do anything for these guys. I believe it'll boost their agility by tiny bits. I would say let's get War God on somebody, but we can't get War God on anybody even if we hired a fairy, even if that was allowed. Typically the strat that I like to use is that if you hire a fairy at level 1, you bring it into the Formido fight, you make sure that you're a water element or an earth element, you can basically make sure to one-shot the fairy by that point. For the War God emblem, you have to be in a position to one-shot a unit, as well as also doing it in a proper fight. It doesn't actually check if it's an enemy or not, so you can hire your own fairy and just punch them out. So yeah, that doesn't work here, but oh well. It's fine. They'll eventually go down. They've got about 100 health each. They're doing anywhere from 4 to 8 with each punch. Yes, it takes a minute, but it's very worth it, seeing as the punch is about the equivalent of a claymore that you don't get till the end of the game. A little bit overpowered, but it's kind of the way that it had to be, because, you know, by the time you get to the claymore, these punches basically do nothing. It's just early game, they're pretty darn OP, and the actual reason I'm doing this, I can't afford equipment on anybody. When I was going and routing this out, there's just simply not enough equipment space. Their movement is so unbelievably low that they're going to be down to 3 tiles of movement from anything more than just armor. And yeah, that'll be that. So hope you enjoy punching. This is also the reason that I didn't pick up the fist fight emblem in the very first first choice there. Will you be using a mermaid for your Snapdragon, or are you allowed to train up other classes? No, mermaid only for everything. I have either workarounds or ways to make this stuff work for every game in the series now. It's actually one of the reasons I was going to go back and redo the fairy run without any leader units, if I can make it work. Because I think it's possible to do all that stuff now. That fairy run will never include FFTA, by the way, because that fairies are friggin' OP as hell. It's kind of hilarious. It's almost like they played all these ones and like, how about we just make them huge and turn them into, like, meteor-spamming psychopaths? How does that sound? That sounds balanced, Mr. Crazy Bob. Let's do it. The only downside is this takes a little bit of a while, but this is really why you want to do it very early in the game. This is the fastest that it ever gets, and this is actually the only real grinding session that you really got to do. I think part of the reason that they actually give you the fistfight emblem is to prevent people from doing this. Granted, you can just give everyone a staff at that point, but still, once you pick up the fistfight emblem, you really don't want to put them in training anymore, simply because they'll just dominate the entire thing, and, well, you won't get anybody else getting the emblem, will ya? Does the rain not lift the sea next to the dragon shield? You know what? Technically not. No, now that I think about it, not on this map. I don't think this map... If we see a notification that says that the tide has gone up, then yes. A lot of the tidal maps, a lot of the coastal maps do have that. I don't think this one does, though. And for anyone wondering why the hell there was that random best shield in the game in the coastal town right near the start of the game for Belseal, I'm fairly certain it has to be a reference to this, because yeah, you get the dragon shield, which is arguably the best shield in the game, just sitting there right on the pier. Unfortunately, we don't have enough jump height to actually get it at this point, so we're gonna have to wait until we get like the warp boots or something like that. There's a Kisaragi employee playing Last Raven full-time on YouTube. Wait, what? Is there an actual company that, or is that the guy's name? Self-preservation and fist fight. There we go. So now this isn't a fight anymore. He will just dominate everything. Yeah, he does 113 with his punches now. It's a little bit of an upgrade from 4, you know? This is what I was saying, that it's a little strong. Also, I really, really wish at some point some part of Armored Core would get a bit more love than friggin' Last Raven. Why is it always Last Raven? It's not the best one. It's not even like in the running for the best ones. Like, if you want the best, you know, overall thematicness, like if you want the best kind of immersion type of situation, what about Nexus? That one doesn't get enough love. It's like the most fun to get into, and like the one that you recommend to newbies is going to be 3, but nobody ever seems to play 3, or you get the one, you know, the one that most people have played, so you start with 2 or 1 or any of that. He hates it? Well, there we go. I mean, honestly, I'm not a big fan of Last Raven either. Like, it's just, it's got too much. It's not the gameplay; it's the map design. Like, I still can't dislike it that much. It's cool. See, like, that's the thing, though. The gameplay and the mechanics are good. The balance is, it's okay. But the map design, like, whoever designed the missions, is just, they did nothing with the setting for it. At least as far as I felt. Like, maybe a third of the missions are actually stuff that you'd want to do, like the pulverizer fights and stuff like that. But honestly, who wants to go back into the power plant 6 times in a row? Who wants to be doing those friggin', like, night vision sewer levels over and over? Who wants to keep going in the desert and dealing with those stupid drones that you can't get a lock on? Like, just why? Let's see, what class do you got to keep Alphonse? Can you change him into a ninja to get the shield? Now, he is locked to Mermaid. I modified the ROM so that he is functionally a mermaid. He gets the land penalty. He counts as an aquatic unit. He is, for all intents and purposes, a mermaid with like 10 higher stats than anybody else. So I am allowing modifications in the game for this particular challenge, as well as when we go back and redo it all with fairies, we're going to allow modifications for that one to make it functionally into a fairy. So yeah, Farmer Core gets kind of good at role-playing and not horny robot fanfics, asking you to do missions every day when you go online and like guided by an operator friend next to you. Alright. I mean, why not just do a randomizer at that point? Or just have somebody come up with arbitrary bullcrap in the background. I mean, I don't know. I'd still say, like, AC3 is probably still the one to recommend for people if they want to go and actually get the full Armored Core experience. Like, 2 is pretty awesome, but it's got those few moments where stuff's, I guess, just kind of off. Like the fact that the AI never runs out of ammo, for example. I mean, I know this won't apply to everybody, but one of those things that always drew me to AC3 is how everyone always plays by the same rules. So, like, yeah, sure, the MTs are still walking around, but they still gotta respect their AP pool just like you do. They've technically got ammo, surprisingly. They just have a near infinite amount. But any other AC you run into, like, they're gonna have those 18 large rockets, and that's it. If they're out of those rockets, they're out of those rockets. They're not doing anything more. They'll usually just throw their weapon aside and try to fight you with something else. It's cool, you know? It's nice little immersive things like that. I always appreciated that you could throw your weapons away. There's just a lot about 3 that really did it for me, personally. Silent Lion felt like a fantastic DLC add-on for it. Gotta go for about 30 minutes? Okay, Fotis. Well, we'll be done with the training long before then, so we should be at Formido by then. AC3 elitist. Not elitist, it's just the one that I like. I know it's not for everyone. I mean, I know for people that like the PvP stuff. Like, when it comes to PvP, believe me, I completely agree that 3 and Silent Lion definitely aren't too balanced. When we did the PvP tournaments last year and stuff like that, not to, like, for one thing, the netcode didn't hold up. For another thing, there's so many bands you would have to do, and even then it still doesn't exactly work great. But I will say Silent Line's really dang good fun regardless. Like, I was really happy when, for one of the tournaments, I was able to pull off using ACM rockets and stuff like that. But yeah, trying to hit anything with rockets with ridiculously laggy multiplayer is a little bit difficult. Not to mention the Sawa is just completely busted overpowered in that one. For that matter, a lot of stuff is just kind of overpowered, and if you start getting on the back foot, there's very little chance to make a comeback. Which is probably why by the time they got to Last Raven and things like that, the accuracy of almost everything is such hot garbage that you're never going to hit a thing. Now, let me check something. Alright. Alright, we'll take a turn here. I want to double check that thing with the height. Yeah, so that's still the same. I don't think I've ever seen the water level raise on this particular map. I just want to point out, old GBA game here managed to figure out that if you set a unit to AI, you still want them to be able to take their turn. Meanwhile, on the Tactics Ogre PSP remake, they're like, no, you switch somebody to AI, they lose their turn. Who does this help? No one. They just can't take their turn. Weird system issues on that one. Oh well. Anyway, though, so yeah, like on the whole AC thing, personally, I'm like, it's not really a generation thing that makes me like one game more than another. It's the kinds of stuff that they try to do for it. Like, almost always ends up coming down to the map design. Like the original ACs. Really liked one, didn't care too much for Project Phantasma, but adored the hell out of Master of Arena. You know why? Because it had like friggin' 250 arena fights, and that mess was amazing. Like, Ninebreaker gets dumped on all the time for being nothing but arena fights, but it's like, dude, it's a random generator of arena fights. What more do you want? Like, this thing should be in every AC game ever. Yeah, sure, you wound up with some really stupid stuff sometimes where they're like, I came in with, like, a parrying blade on a tank, and I got, like, a flamethrower. And I'm gonna just sit over here, you know, just sit off in the background. Let's see, well, you know, how I managed to defend myself in any means whatsoever. And there we go, double fist fight on that one. Right, I think that is all but one of the team members with fist fight now. Which means I can't necessarily get anyone else. Or at least I could, but I don't feel like it because that would take forever. Where's Turbo? Why does Turbo not have a button? Right. Icebreaker. Yeah, Ninebreaker is dang fun. Alright, so Fistfight and Miracle on you. It's like, technically you can pick up all of these things, you can pick these things up on everybody, but I got Fistfight on you. Funnily enough, he's still running the standard standard setup in terms of his emblems. Alright, so we need Blue Steel and Ruslan to continue their training. Magic Mirage threatening you in streams if they don't see you work. I mean, if you're doing a stream, it's fair to say you're not working. Unless enough people are coming in and doing their whole donate-y thing to make that happen. Which will never happen for this series, so we're not going to go down that road. The battle of the fisty fish. They just flopped out of the dock one day and started punching each other. Just having a brawl on land. Something to think about, by the way, in terms of the general idea going on here. Why on earth do they have a vest? What do they need the vest for? Like, they're not wearing it underwater. It's not made of seaweed. It's clearly made of cloth of some kind. I mean, are they trying to integrate it into society? Because they're certainly not doing a whole lot of that. I mean, they're their whole policy in this game is basically, you know, stab all humans on sight, so who do they wear the vest for? Seeing if you don't advertise them all the time, their icon on the angle of the streams featuring all their newest and expensive parts. Yeah, try try the new Diet 25-shot laser. It weighs like 200 less. Aren't you glad you lost half your ammo capacity? It means you can try one of our fancy new laser blades now. Aren't you glad you lost half of its firepower in order to get a longer range? What do you mean stop designing terrible parts? Alright, now we're taking that a bit far. Alright, how do I make that message go away? Alright, I think we're gonna... Yeah, let's maybe not go down that particular road. Would prefer not to have, you know, not to have my house friggin' raided because of a weird joke about Armored Core. There we go. Start spamming it. Gotta throw some of those in there. Throw like some of those in there. There we go. Now it's gone. Why do you always choose crests? Because they're cheap, man. They're cheap and they got sweet parts to make you look like friggin' Megatron. That's why. Seriously, did anybody else that played like 3rd Gen AC just prefer the crest parts because they looked blocky and had all the stupid terrible edges on there? Like I always just prefer them to look as rough as possible. I mean, I wanted that sucker to look like it was made out of Lego, dang it. I mean, that starter AC? How good is that starter AC? Thing looks like it's friggin' Legos, seriously. I actually made that thing out of Legos once. There we go. Fist fight is achieved. On to Vespa! They acquired the skills of a soldier. All right, now we're gonna turn off turbo because that sounds terrible. See, isn't Jacko's parts made mostly by Mirage? No wonder he's. I don't know actually. I mean, he uses one of the most pointless builds in the game, that's for sure. I mean, why are we talking about LR? Talk about how much, I mean, on the above, I don't think that'd be the way that they go about it. I mean, look at Nexus. You're like, oh man, you didn't support us that one time, and that time that, you know, nobody else would hire you for like a week. So why don't you go stand on this pier and have it be nuked to oblivion? Alright, that's not the right tile. It's gonna be this tile. And yes, I'm well aware I came in with no armor on everybody. Talking about working for Kisaragi, hey, we have a new idea of making a disgusting bioweapon. Looks like that alien movie. Want to hang out? Doesn't look like that. It looks like they just took a giant tick and they're like, you know how fleas and ticks are gross? We made one into a big robot. And then if you go back to AC1, they're like, we run by a different name now, but we decided to make friggin' android ants for some reason, and they're the size of a house. We're not entirely sure what the practical application is, but they exist, and that's really all that matters. Also, they make this horrible clicking noise, and we turned off all music in the area, so enjoy that clicking noise. It's kind of freaky. Actually, if you want scariest PS1 games, how is Armored Core not on there? That horrible ant hive, man. Alright. I don't know if it's a silent hill as much as it's a very, very, very clicky hill. Alright, now, I think it was blue steel. Alright, so blue steel is the one that stays behind. They're mostly going to be our item character. So we've got a couple level advantage as it stands. I'm mostly going to just let them charge ahead. There's a spike in difficulty after 3. Get it because oh yeah, I get it! Yeah, compare that movement range. They've got like 6. We've got 4 with no equipment. I mean, yeah, thankfully due to being low level, you know, punches do like 70 damage, but this is just for now. This will carry us through a little bit. As soon as we run into anything remotely threatening, oh, that's gonna completely fall apart. Freaking short bows doing 20 damage, what is that crap? Those things do 6, by the way. On any other character, not even over leveled or anything, they will do about 5 or 6 damage. It's literally the weakest weapon in the game, and it's taken off, like, yeah, it's taken off like a 1/6 of their health every time they attack with it. It's so much of a joke weapon the fairies carry it around all game. Alright, so, brief little kind of go over here to kind of explain why this is a challenge once again. All aquatic units suffer a 50% penalty to their damage taken and given when they're on land. Naturally, it's a little bit of a problem, and it's why we're going to be relying on fist fight. Up until we get spears. They get a damage bonus when using spears. Up until then, fist fight is going to be the only decent damage that we get. Which is going to actually do a pretty good job of cleaning these up. Though again, this isn't anything good about the units, this is strictly fist fight being kind of overpowered. Only for now, though. I mean, the octopus gets no such emblem, so he takes kind of pretty preposterous damage there. Out of curiosity, can I just recruit this guy? 4%, worth a shot. That would have been interesting. Alright, got the best idea? How about the community stop? Oh, jeez, dude. I mean, yeah, it's not wrong. We'll say it's one of those things where I'll never really understand why the AC community is as hostile as it is. Oh, crap. I said I didn't understand and my coffee attacked me. Plus side, gonna smell like coffee all day now, so that is absolutely fantastic, actually. Well, until I have to go to work. And I gotta not smell like coffee. Friggin' work. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think it's largely just because it's got a pretty steep learning curve in terms of getting into it. So you tend to see, you know, you tend to see more of that whole, you know, I put in the work, you do it too kind of situation. Not saying it's a good thing, but in terms of just explaining why. Alright. You know, one of those days, though. One of those days, the series might come back. For reference, by the way, for anyone that missed it, we were talking about AC there. Looking at how it appears on chat there, it definitely doesn't... It looks weird in context right now. Let's put it that way. Alright, come on, Octopus, can you reach him? No. Octopus can't do much of value aside from slapping this guy. Come on, get a level. Ah. I can't really spare the fish power here to do anything other than take this one guy out. Hope that Ivana does enough healing to keep everybody on track. There we go, you got a free punch over here. I think what we're gonna do, because I don't like having it up there, we're gonna go ahead and go to the box here. I think we're gonna introduce a timeout on this. It's like a fade out. There we go. No, it's just the phrasing. Basically, there we go. Well, chat will disappear after 60 seconds now. No, believe me, I agree. When it comes to AC, it's a little bit of a frustrating thing there, because it's definitely among the less welcoming communities out there. I mean, again, there are exceptions. The community Royal started a while ago, before he went off to be a cop there. It's pretty, I mean, it's pretty nice there, but in general, they have a habit of self-destructing constantly. The issue that I was having with the message is primarily just that the way that it stays on chat there makes it sound like we're talking about the OB community, which is pretty much on the total opposite spectrum of being one of the most welcoming I've seen. Alright, I think we're gonna have to use some items here. I've been kind of sparing in terms of the item usages here, because we're definitely gonna start running out of those. Electrode also self-destruct constantly? What's Electrode? Oh, Pokemon? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I didn't know if you were talking about that exactly. Thought for a second there was another series that I hadn't heard of. When a daddy doesn't let his kids play Pokemon? Dude, please. My wife and I have a SNES Classic emulating Pokemon on our friggin' nightstand. I kid you not. Like, part of the evening relaxing ritual is just turn on yellow or something like that. So we'll have this weird thing where I'll just have, like... I'll probably be watching something on YouTube on my phone. I'll have Tactics Ogre on my Vita. We'll have, like, Pokemon Yellow or something on the TV. We'll have an iPad playing the voice. Meanwhile, she's playing her game on her iPad. At the same time, my daughter's there playing her games on hers. Like it's a weird clustercluck. You modded GB games onto a SNES Classic? Yeah, man. You can mod a ton of stuff. Them things can surprisingly even play PS1 games, though it's really not worth the space to make them do that. Basically, they can run RetroArch. RetroArch can run dang near anything. Like, it can run N64 games, which got me really excited for trying to play OV64 on it. Unfortunately, it's not quite there for N64. To be fair, though, what is? I mean, it's kind of annoying that the N64 is such a massive pain in the neck to actually get running on anything. Well, that isn't a phone or PC anyway. I think as far as most mobile devices, you're pretty much stuck to using a phone, so enjoy that no battery life, basically. And poor Charlie here unfortunately couldn't land any of his hits, so slap. Just kind of stuck fighting in kind of unoptimized or non-optimal fights here. Alright, I'm gonna move her over here. Move Momo over there, but we're not really gonna do anything farther with that. I'll let Halibut take the kill right here. I could potentially get any one of them Vixen's Whisper if I had them do the recruit. Really not much of a point in it. All it does is increase their recruit chance versus male units. If I do ever end up using recruit over the course of this run, it's mostly just as a kind of show-off finisher. So anybody that would be recruited would be immediately fired and/or just killed off in another turn. But yeah, as far as our SNES goes, I have pretty much every Tactics Ogre and OB game on there. I've got, let's see, Friend Mission 1, about every Genesis game I've ever played, every Game Boy or GBA game I've ever played on there. I want to say there's like 109 things on there right now. Pretty much all the early Pokemon games, as well as some of the later ones remade. There's actually a surprising amount of remakes that turn the newer Pokemon games into older ones. But yeah, lately been loving Crystal Clear. Basically, it's a remake of Crystal that turns it into an open world game with pretty much constant scaling. So you basically pick from a list of different starters, and then you just kind of go wherever you want, really. Like, make your own custom characters and everything. That's surprisingly good. But yeah, if you never tried Crystal Clear, go try it. It's pretty neato. Please miss. Okay, good. Most I was worried because a double hit from that guy would be a kill. No, never? Okay, why not? Okay. Why not? You know, this run has some really weird connotations. So this lady's only attacking because she's pissed at the protagonist here for being Lotus, who basically took over the place and kind of had their way with it for quite a while. However, in the context of what's going on right now, I mean, they're technically the mermaids that, well, further got, well, they were around everywhere until they basically got hunted into near extinction by her people there, so it's kind of a reverse revenge story in that particular aspect. Never really thought about it till now. Dang it, this is when we need Vale here for all this lore building. He created the Steve the Murder Fairy story, dang it. Now we need the epic tale of Pound Tuna. See, people are going out now. I was thinking to buy a PS2 without region lock. What's the best choice for hardware? Online people saying 70K is good. I don't know. I just got one of the slim ones. Them things are surprisingly durable. My policy is always literally just what's the cheapest thing that'll do the job and then take care of it. So I don't think I'd be the person to ask about that. Because literally this PS2 I got back here, got that sucker at a garage sale for like $10 or something. And it's been pretty much seeing constant use, I want to say, since like 2011 or so. I think I got it in 2011. I mean, that thing was used then. See, half the slim, it doesn't play games anymore? Well, fix the laser. Actually, there's a surprising amount of cases where you literally just have to clean off the laser and it's right back to working normally. Pop. Wow. Blue steel, come on now. You're the one and only look, you can make this work. Also, while she's hunting down blue steel, it gives a nice convenient excuse for Ruslan to be going after this one. I really might as well just take the time to finish them off. Nidalos is one of those ones that you really want to finish off as many units as you can. Oh crap, I just noticed I think I got one. I think I just got Halibut killed. Gonna buy a new one, hopefully, with Japanese exclusives. Well, you do that then. Have you ever heard of the no sound glitch in Armored Core 2? I want to say Cow told me about that. Alright. Well, they missed, but he just stole the longsword. Or the sword emblem. Even worse, surprisingly. See comments on the TBM video, see when he started playing again. Yeah, I saw he was doing pretty alright with the rocket run. I was kind of hoping to see more, like, trick shots out of that rocket run. It's one of those things where, yeah, it's not necessary, you know, it occasionally makes stuff more difficult to hit. You can potentially do such cool stuff on a rocket run of that. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and move Halibut out of the way. Let's get Momoa probably off to the side there. There we go. Yeah, had a really good chance to dodge there. And then this gives this one pretty good placement. And this kind of stuff is why you'd want a fire elemental, you know, octopus kind of situation. Because there's going to be far more fire tiles on land than there would be on water. As in, the number is more than 0. And whether or not we finish this fight right now is up to Blue Steel, rolling something that is not a 1. Alright, so there we go, we got one more round. Oh, by the way! So speaking of wasps and things like that, you guys actually heard that murder hornets are actually in the States now? We've got the big scary bees that are apparently going around and decapitating bees in Washington now. Because, you know, nothing else was scary enough yet. Hi there, Aphelion. How's it going? Oh, but yeah, no, I had the weirdest dream because I was reading about those last night. And then, like, this morning I wake up and I'm, like, middle of the night I'd woken up my wife trying to tell her about this crazy dream I had. So this morning, you know, I end up waking up looking at my phone trying to remember what the hell the dream was. And I open up my phone and there's just a picture of that wasp staring at me in the face. And yeah, then I remembered it was just like this dream where we had installed this hummingbird feeder outside. We just had this dream that there were all these hummingbirds around, and then just suddenly giant wasps show up. It's like, hi, we're birds too. We're birds. Hibachi wants to destroy humanity again? Well, if it's anything like a normal hibachi grill, I'm all on board. You can destroy it one completely annihilated insides at a time. Get some of that yum-yum sauce on your scary bees. But you do know that's probably the way this is going to go, right? Eventually, people are going to find out some way that you can probably eat giant hornets. At which point, they'll probably just become the latest Snickers or something. It's just how it goes sometimes. And Caponch. There we go. Now you roll a 5. There we go. Now she got her fist fight emblem. Okay, swiftness, got the life. Missed out on the sword emblem, unfortunately. Missed out on the longsword, unfortunately. And didn't miss out on the cutscene, unfortunately. God, the artwork in this game, man. Just always looking through this whole thing, imagining somebody having to go through, you know, pixel by pixel to make all this. I always love it. Oops. Almost accidentally fired her. Which, now that I think about it, I'm gonna have to see if the game will allow me to turn her into a mermaid now. I should have done that beforehand. I think I'm gonna have to open up the ROM and, yeah, you know, here, let's save it real quick. We'll do that later. We'll do that later. We shouldn't have any new characters recruited this time around, because I've only got like 30 minutes left, so that's enough time for an attempt at Mermaids. Alright, so how much armor can we actually pack on here? So leather hats won't affect anything. Hard leather puts us pretty low. If we were to put the glass pumpkin, that's a pretty significant amount of defense, but I mean, LB Tuna is the only one we can justify for that. They're not going to need to get out of anywhere fast. Yeah. Now, I always took, funnily enough, when I was a kid, I never tried putting the leather hat together with the glass pumpkin, of all weird things, because I always figured they wore it as a helmet, but apparently they literally just haul this thing around like a suitcase or something. So, you know, whatever works. Charlie's the only one you'd really want to have equipping something like that here, with his friggin' gigantic head, his level 2, and his no movement. Like, this is one of the reasons that octopi suck. Their stats, like, what is this stat layout right here? He's got natural attack and stuff like that, but they're friggin' high intelligence? For what? They don't have any intelligence scaling skills. They don't have any intelligence scaling anything, for that matter. Alright, so see, the thing is, we could go for Mido now, or you know, maybe I will do that ROM editing thing right now. Hang on. Here, let me open up a different one so that we still have the music playing. And let me open up this ROM real quick. I think this is the Japanese version or something. Alright. Alright, so Eleanor will be a mermaid. Okay. Apply changes. Alright, so I don't know if it's too late to change Ivana or not. I'll just probably fire her or whatever else. If it is. Hi there, Jorf. See, the ITA ESP version of Armored Core 2 is hilarious. It takes place in 2067, and the translation says 67 years after. Hey, they're just obsessed with 67s. Let's double check one thing right here. Eleanor, yeah, still shows as Mermaids. We'll go ahead and save that. What we need is Labina. Yeah, Glycinia and Labina. So I don't know if we'll actually get Labina. Yeah, functionally speaking, we're trying not to make the game explode here. I don't think I can actually turn her into one now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I just can't use her, period. Oh, I can turn her into an octopus. That'll work. Yeah, that'll do. The fairies are now octopi, sure. Let's save that one. Who else? Who else are we getting soon? Presumably, we're going down B route. Wait, Radlam's in this game? Totally forgot. Where? When? Thanks, Ubisoft. I mean, we're not getting either of them this time, so either way, that'll do. I'll go ahead and save that. Now we load the correct ROM. Bam. Now we should be good to go. Octopus! Exactly. Let's see how hard this crashes the game. Because as much as I want to go for Formido now, we're just going to get wrecked in the butt real good. Because it's basically an uphill fight that you're already taking a bunch of hits before you can really do anything effective. On top of that, I don't really have any equipment for the most part. We're doing 50% damage and, well, yeah. The most effective weapon is a punch. So that's just fantastic. I'm probably going to give somebody a bow later. We can hire one more. Need another fish name. Anyone got a good fish name? Cat? What about catfish? Let's first remember to intentionally do this code wrong so that it actually works. What about bird? Why not bird? Actually, right, flyfish was suggested earlier. We'll just take both suggestions and go with flyfish. What is bird? There's only fish that fly. Flybird? Too late, they're already flyfish. Now this is going to be a weird thing to praise this game for, but I always appreciated that you didn't drown in extra equipment. Flyfish? Somehow I have a feeling that's got some weird connotations behind it. There's Tiny Fairy that is also octopus. Freakishly underleveled octopus. Alright, I forgot to actually level up Flyfish. So they suck. But yeah, I at least want to have a full team before trying for Mido. See, that sounds like a Chinese name if they use FS, or if they use Fs. Ah, it didn't work. Although she didn't fire, maybe it did work. No, when she gets hired in, I think her class changes. And yeah, while the other characters can be replaced, even if it's a little bit of a pain to do so, obviously the run ends if anything happens to Pound Tuna here. So we're gonna give them the health boost. Is there a way to get a region free on a PS2? I've heard of plenty of modifications that you could do. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a pain, and you're probably gonna mess with some... Actually, wait a minute. The one time that I've heard it being done, or that I've directly looked into how to get it done, was for RE Outbreak. That it wasn't. You could actually do it with any PS2. You just had to mess with a couple things. Basically, it was the same process as pretty much just jailbreaking the thing to allow it to play modified discs and stuff like that. Alright, this is gonna suck. Because we've got no movement and we've got to catch that stupid fairy. Because that thing is never gonna get close. That one did for some reason, so there's a small chance of just one-shotting it. Part of the downside of having a fist as a main weapon is that, well, you can't do Sword and Shield, which the main use of Sword and Shield in this one isn't actually for defense. That's the fact that you can shield bash stuff off of cliffs and move your own units around. Not so much the case right now. Also, ain't nobody got time to wait for all these little sharpo planks. Got a 100 there. Wow, 80% miss. Yeah, that horrible, horrible jarbled music. Really, it's just because I want to finish this within half an hour, and these dang fairies are going to fly around forever, so... bit of an annoyance. Because unlike the fairy run, we have no movement to speak of. There's just exactly nothing in that regard. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I missed the fact that the turn changed. I was actually taking a look into seeing how we could modify the March of the Black Queen ROM. Because based off what's available for this one, I'm gonna say the odds are pretty high being able to go in there and just pretty much adjust everything. So if I can set up a situation where you can only recruit mermaids, and you only start with mermaids and that kind of thing, it would be nice if these 86% would stop missing constantly. on, blue steel. Punch out this fairy. In a kind of weird twist of screwy scripting for this game, for some reason, Glycinia is scripted to never actually get a kill. And she only attacks, I think, like 1 out of 4 rounds. No matter how many times she gets shot. Come on, roll a 32. Almost. Right. I need Flyfish to roll a 2 here. Do it! Ah, you suck. Then we can skip getting the fist fight emblem on her if she rolls a 32 there. Nonsense. Alright, those odds rolled backwards. Now, for now, Griffins and stuff like that may overpower the Octopus and things like that. They're still really weak at this point, as you'd probably expect, because, you know, beginning of the game and all that. They'll have the potential to probably get 2 or 3 kills at once later on down the road. As soon as they get their big tornado move. Takes about 5 turns to charge up. But it's not like you can really do anything in the meantime. Oh, come on! 80% work with me, please! Wow. Alright. That's beyond frustrating. Every part of that was terrible. Yeah, Flyfish might actually die with how bad they're doing. And yeah, if I recall correctly, the Fairy and the Gremlin are scripted to always attack Glycinia over anyone else. I'm just curious to see if this will work. It probably won't. Alright. So we'll leave Charlie to finish that one off. I'll leave you well out of the way here. Flyfish, please get your fist fight emblem. Yeah, now you roll that 200%. Rude. Nice. Now, interestingly, I thought he was supposed to get War God from that. For doing over 100 damage. Although I think maybe you're supposed to do over 200? Now, which he could do in water at this point. And yeah, no, the kids are down for a nap still. Yeah, you go ahead and have yourself a good one. Take care. It is actually possible that mermaids can't earn War God. That ferryman just does not believe. Simply can't bring himself to believe in the fact that maybe 80% is a number. Or that gremlin, rather. Alright, now we can turn that terrible turbo mode off. I'm sorry that it janks up the sound so badly. There we go. You can see why we would have wanted to come here. War God is 200. Oh, right. All I know is if you train up the ferry at if you leave it at level 1, you get the elemental advantage, and then you go to Firmido, taking the elemental advantage tile on that front right there, you can get War God pretty much immediately. Because my optimal start for this one that I always love doing is like you start up, you hire the ferry, you do the longsword and plus 10 strength setup, then you get Book of Initiation and all that just kind of early on in the early fights. You get Centurion, Mark of the Elite in friggin' Cressida, which I wonder if the Cressida in PSP Remake is meant to be a reference to her or not. Because now that I think about it, their backstory is pretty similar too. But anywho, so they yeah, I guess we'll bring her along, see if she actually does turn into an octopus. That'd be quite dandy. See if the game crashes first of all. But anyway, whatever it is that you can hit them for at that point, if you use the sword emblems on them, usually you wind up at level 6, I believe, for Mido. Alright, are you an octopus? No. Well, that didn't work. I mean, plus side, second glass pumpkin. So this is basically the earliest that you can get 2 of them. You need 4 of them to unlock the Fire Crest. You basically need to get one from quest mode. Probably the reason that they did it that way, actually. No use in using the Dragon Gem on anyone. Ice Chain we can go ahead and put on Momoa. I think he should still be okay movement-wise, yeah. As long as we're staying above 4, items should be good. Sorry, I'm still getting used to doing all inputs on the keyboard here, it just feels weird. Also, that didn't change Ivana, did it? No. And I'm not sure how I can force her into a certain other class. I can go see if I can find a code for it. Though it might just not be possible. Right. If nothing else, at least get some leather vests on. Alright, before we try for Mido, and probably lose everyone in the process, let's see here. Alright, character modification. Yeah, you can change a lot of stuff about them, you can't change their class. Unfortunately. Well, poo. That's fine. let's try for Mido. Look this over real quick, make sure that... Yep, you get out of here. You get out of here, and okay, then we're left with that. We do have just enough. Let's actually go and get a new recruit, though. Get rid of that thing. I'm not going to use it. Get a level 6, and let's see. Need a name. If anyone's got a name, do let me know. Otherwise, I am thinking. I feel like I need to get a really good generic goldfish name. Like Flounder or something. Actually, screw it. We'll just go with Flounder. Yeah, they should probably be an earth element, but whatever. Alright, we are gonna... Let's see. Okay, we're gonna quickly save state abuse here for one quick thing. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't get an encounter there. Not that it would really ruin anything, I just don't have the time to do an encounter right now.
Find it out.
Mash buttons to make the cutscene go away. Turbo. Buttons. See, now if we could get them to come down and fight us in the water, that'd be a very different story. Because yeah, in the water, this would be an absolute just curb stomp of the highest order. But you can't even get mermaids this early. Says luck's been on our side. Not sure. We've got 3 characters with a miracle emblem. It's mostly the fistfight emblem that's been on our side. See, I feel like this is the music they should have started with in that pirate fight. I absolutely love this theme. It's so good. So, like, if there's one theme that I think pretty much encapsulates everything that this game does well, it's this. Like, it's just that nice, like, kind of somber, nice somber feeling. Very, like, it doesn't feel quite hopeless, but definitely doesn't feel happy. Just gonna dump all the sad items onto him for now. And again, for reference, he is functionally a mermaid in everything but visuals. Right, now we're gonna take two different drop tiles here. There's one right here. Essentially, the drop tiles in this game run in 3 tiers. So this one down here, I believe, is a tier 1. This one's a tier 2. Basically, just means you can get different stuff from a different item pool there. Depending on how your character's feeling that day, depending on how their luck is that day, depending on the time of year and how close it is to their birthday, and all kinds of other bizarrely specific calculations off in the background, is how you end up deciding what kind of item you'll end up rolling. The only tier 3 one, basically tier 3s can give you endgame weapons and things like that. Nothing too fancy, but like the endgame store equipment and stuff like that. Like the earliest you can get a composite bow is pretty much about 2 battles in on Celia. If you have somebody with a fire ability, you burn off one of the grass tiles near the church, you have somebody stand on it, and then it rolls for a chance to be a tier 3 thing. That can be an orb, it can be a trident, it can be anything like that. If we had anything that would be able to use a fire ability, so for example if we get like a fire ring or something like that down the line, then we can use it to go to that tile, see about getting a trident. There's 2 opportunities to potentially get a pike on this one, and getting an early pike would be very helpful, so we'll see. There's also a guaranteed hyacinth fan up on top of that wall. And again, this is another one of those things that I loved about KOL. It's just, they have little things hidden about all over the place. Also, I'll be right back. One sec. Hello! Okay. Upwards and punch words. So healing is going to be a constant problem. Especially considering our... Oh boy. That is a terrible start right there. Okay, so... Problem right off the bat. Our best guy can barely keep up with their guy. So 168. He's got a health advantage. That's about it. They do about the same damage. Grimmel's gonna have better evasive options in this case. In case he gets a crit, that's also gonna be a lot more damage for him. This octopus is functionally worthless. You know what? Screw it, we're only using 1 octopus. This guy sucks. Alright, got a rapier. That's all well and dandy. I'm feeling like once we get up there in levels, the sleep move might end up leveling stuff out a little bit. I believe its unlock is based off of intelligence, so it's gonna be a while since we get it, or until we get it. Oh yeah, that's if we want to unlock the Don Quixote right away. There we go, that's a perfect opportunity to do so. Yeah, we'll say Flyfish is getting chucked completely into the, well, I would say the deep end, but kind of the shallow end for them here. For now, though, all we really need is just to win it. Wouldn't expect many of the early ones to survive. Like, I'm gonna say the odds of Flyfish actually surviving this are probably like 10%. But yeah, this map though, like this is when a run really starts for this game. Like just the design of this one is so good. Like they introduce you to tanks and casters right away. They introduce you to different elevations and different types of terrain in one effective map. They show you the kinds of defensive situations you're going to run into. They present like a proper map where you can't necessarily charge ahead as effectively as you'd probably want to. I remember so many times back in school that I would just sit there like thinking of these different strategies with these different teams that I would try to run this game with. Just trying to come up with all kinds of different ways, like how can we do the flanks differently? You know, do we skirt around the sides? What's the best way to approach this one? Plus, you got all your hidden items that you want to go collect. It's just, I love it. I love it so much. It's just so good. Okay, so right here, decent bit injured. I'm gonna say Blue Steel. They can get a level up there, which would be very handy. Again, throwing Flyfish into the shallow end here, but I need them to set up the KO. I was gonna let them take it, but then essentially would be rolling some dice, and that's not gonna be acceptable here. And yeah, not really the way I wanted to do this, but it's alright. So I'm gonna come around here, take the punch. Get punished for it? Ish. Right. You're more likely to get the hit, so we're gonna go ahead and go here. More likely to get the hit, more likely to get the level up. Yeah, up his speed a little bit. Also, for the life of me, I couldn't tell you why it's called stab. It's more of a slap. Doesn't matter. Alright, so we're gonna go over here. Now that I think about it, I also forgot to give Flounder a weapon. So they're not even going to be able to do effective damage. Boy, oh boy, we're off to a great start here. Alright, they're going to steal his item. It's pretty rare that you can actually get away with taking all the items on this map. But on the plus side, I'm still planning to go pick up the Hyacinth Fan. Yeah, there's another Sword Emblem. We're not doing well on those this time. Them things are really good too. Because the agility is only boosted by 1, Sword Emblem is boosted by 2. I mean, when a pretty noticeable bonus is like 10 or so, it's pretty solid. If you put a few of those on one unit, they're going to be hitting pretty dang hard. You're essentially getting about 1 level's worth of a stat every time they use one of those stat boosting items. Which, now that I think about it, for better or worse, that's always been how it's been, huh? So I'm gonna get Flyfish over here. She's probably gonna take some heavy hits again, but she's doing a good job being a distraction. If she can survive 2 more rounds, I'd say her odds of surviving go up pretty significantly at that point. Again, we've basically got no jump height. I believe our jump height is 1. And that's just going to be the way it's going to be sometimes. Ouch. Should hopefully be able to get Longsword Guy going. Alright, come on, Momoa. Get the kill. Perfect. Let's give him another cup of life. Let's boost that max health as high as it can go. Only reason being that, yeah, once damage starts getting actually, damaging, that's the time when we're going to be seeing some pretty crazy snipes happening, and I want him to be able to survive anything. Like, specifically, I'm thinking Astoria. And yeah, another thing that I should probably mention here is there's no plan to do the night chart fight. So he gets to survive this time around. So once you get to Astoria, there's basically 2 versions of the fight you can take. Night chart is technically the easier of the 2 in a lot of cases. Largely because he's actually one of the most satisfying bosses to take out in the game. Because he'll gladly just go, like, he always wants to friggin' 1v1 somebody on the ramparts, which means that you have the opportunity to go slap him repeatedly off a castle wall with a shield. Really satisfying, but yeah, we're not going to be doing that, because if you do it that way, if you didn't know, you actually have to take on both fights if you have more than 8 units. If you have 8 or less, you only have to take on 1 of them. If you don't have as long as you don't have Ivana with you. So, yeah. Basically the way it goes is, yeah, you can take both of them, you can get Atropos, and you can take out Nightchart. In this case, Nightchart gets to live. Oh well, who cares? Maybe, maybe he changes his ways or something. Okay, made it another round. Those extra levels are holding up shockingly well right now. In fact, we can actually start making some progress here. Alright. Kapow. Now in this case, I'm just defining progress as getting rid of their attack. One tile off. I was kind of hoping Halibut would be able to run up and finish off that caster. Although you still might be able to. I'm stupid. I really should have had Halibut do that. And yeah, I want all the other characters getting experience, so we're not gonna get the main character involved as much. Sure, he might hit harder sometimes, but there's no sense in going about it that way. Everyone else can hit plenty hard without his interference. Like in this case, I would use him to finish off the archer, but I was better off just going about it that way. Kind of thinking I should probably give all of those intelligence crowns over to Momoa. can go remake Justice League and put everyone asleep. To sleep. Or so I heard, anyway. From what I heard, like, the actors did their best, but it was just written like absolute garbage. Though, realistically, it's kind of to be expected from everything that happened to that one. You know, it's one of those weird moments that makes you think, you know, if money went to places that could actually use it and be effective and things like that, makes you wonder how much nicer the world of a place the world would be. Like when you see that there's a movie studio and they have all these investors lined up and they're like, oh, you know, just another weekend we lost like $3 billion on this movie or whatever. Okay, it's more like 50 million or whatever else they lose on a movie. And then at the same time, somebody's trying to get a loan for like a $50,000 house, and these banks will just sit there like, oh, I don't know, man. This is such a huge number. We'll literally go bankrupt if we do this. No, you won't. But, oh well, you'd think it would be the other way around. Alright, there we go. The guy just qualified for the class that he came in with. Alright. So far so decent. This would be pretty sweet if this crit right here. Aw. One can dream. Either way, I might as well take a risky turn. Progress as possible. So far, so good. So far, so very, very good. Next plan now is just kind of to swarm forward. So I just want to send a couple units over to get the hidden items. So she's going to go for the drop on the right, and have somebody else go for the one up on the wall there. Everybody else can be left to just kind of mop up at this point. Like once you get the cleric and the caster gone, you basically have this one in the bag. There's one of those rare hybrid builds you just stop seeing towards the end of the game. Now, on the earlier comment on rainwater raising the level on certain maps, on this one, yes. On this one, it most certainly does raise the water level. I'd like to have Halibut go down there, but I'm not sure... Or up there, rather. Oh, we can't get the high send. Ah, poo. Well, that sucks. There's one of the best early game options. Dang it. Can you just install a waterfall right here so we can maybe swim up it? And don't worry, I haven't forgotten to go get the treasure tile with her. That's way too risky. They're so close to a level up, in which if they take the punch, they take the dodge, and they level up. They're pretty much golden. I don't want to risk it, though. Because if they end up taking a hit, they're basically dead immediately. Because Grimmel will just take one look at that and think, yep, that looks like some delicious sushi dinner for me. See, like that. And yeah, I keep forgetting they're over-leveled. I mean, this is over-leveled and outnumbering them. And this is early game. And though again, this particular map is fantastic for setting up the kind of stuff you'll be running into. Alright, blue steel. Time to get your level. Apparently blue steel is just so experienced that nothing even phases them anymore. Fish lady punched the dude's head off and didn't even care. Just using this because a crit will kill. And a bow shot plus a hit from Grimmel would possibly do the job. So I'm not about to risk that. Get out of here. She barely survives with nothing. You know what, now that I think about it, I forget if the beast jumping mechanic is included in this one or not. It's probably worth testing. Because that'd be pretty cool if we could use the octopus to climb up. Because if that's the case, that would also mean we can go get the D-shield. Please run up, or don't. Nah. That's good, I don't even feel like chasing her down anymore. Another cup of life. Alright, yeah, might as well just plank this guy, because what else do we have to do here? Oh, come on, Grummel. Why do you gotta be like that? Honestly. Just let me get to that tile. I skipped getting it because I thought I could go chase down the dang archer there. Right. Come on. Yeah, it's not in this game. Yeah, if this was the other TO, you basically could hop on him and then hop up here. I forget if that's remake only, or if you could just always do that. Let's skip the turn. Hopefully he goes somewhere else. Archer's gonna continue munching down leaves and hanging out in the river. Because she's decided that the fish have taken over land, it's time to go become aquatic. Alright. Almost done. Almost done. Not sure how many healing items I have left, but unfortunately, cash is going to be in kind of short supply. Because we can out-level the story fights. The random fights, not so much. And I suppose if we do a sort of pincery type of situation, we might be able to catch both of them down there. The guy up top is completely unreachable. There we go. So we took over the fort, and great bow. That sucks. No pike. Again, I could have just left those tiles. We could have repeatedly come back here until we got double pikes. It's not enough of a bonus to really bother doing that. Does mean they're better. Yeah, they get like I think it's like a 25% damage increase from using stuff they're proficient in. But also, did I seriously just leave the mouse there that entire time? Sorry about that. Yeah, she gave herself the heal, but for some reason still left herself within one punch range. think she can make this punch but not get countered. Yeah. So safe spot punch. Don't ask how it works. It just does. Alright, that just leaves one, and I feel like Momo has been having a bit of a hard time this entire time, so there we go. And that'll be checkmate right there. Wah. Finally got the level. That went a hell of a lot better than I expected. Then you get Mitochronology. Basically, it lets you get a bunch of items. So, for anyone that's left, taking a vote. Ban quest mode or no? Because basically, if you allow quest mode, you get a lot more interesting items. If you ban it, you get a lot more challenge. Like, I guess with the rubber banding in this game, it really could go either way. It's like that. The first time through, I allowed it. But either way. Actually, you know what? On a little bit of a side note, I think after this scene is when you start seeing more of the flooding mechanic. Alright, come on. Oh yeah, right, I forgot about turbo mode. Turbo mode. Skip all the cutscenes. Half-assed gonna team Mermaids be modern. Really beat quest mode though? Eh. They really can't too effectively is the thing. Because yeah, the last time through I allowed it simply because, you know, same exact logic. And it's because once you get to the volcano, you can actually farm stat items and stuff like that. Which, funnily enough, despite the fact that you can farm them there, it pretty much never dropped, so there's no real practical reason to do it. But once you get to the volcano, you can also get another glass pumpkin. So I guess what I could say, because basically, like, I would say a solid third of the options that you'd eventually end up getting are in quest mode. Presumably, it's just like those are areas that they cut and they just never got to. So I would say, like my personal vote is ban the Fire Crest for these challenges. But I mean, even then, it really only saves 1 unit. And as far as how they do in quest mode, I can show you. I think it actually starts off at like level 10 or so they probably would just get trounced right now. But it's mostly just because it's completely safe. So let's say defeat the leader within 20 turns, which would just be a minimal item, so you maybe would get a salve or something like that for winning. Oops. Oh wait, right. Let's get you out of here. Let's get Halibut out of here. Let's get Ruslan in. Let's get Flounder in. Yeah, true. There is some water. Alright, let me look up the guide real quick to see... let me look up the tables real quick. Yeah, for quest mode here, let's see. For pneumatic chronology, for doing kill the leader 16 to 20 turns, you get from the H pool, you get one item, so that would be Fire Wand, Thunder Chain, Ice Chain, Wind Garb, Fire Garb, Earth Garb, Wind Wand, or Robe of the Abyss. It's actually not too bad. You know what, maybe it will allow quest mode. Just because seriously, it gives you so many potentially useful items. And funnily enough, it actually does make you pay for it. This is the only one that doesn't make you pay. Let's see if we can get... Can we get anything for J? If we do kill the leader 26 to 30, we can actually get a float ring. I don't think that means what I think it means, though. Yeah, no, I think Ring of Flotation just gives you a water walk, so... not super useful. Yeah, let's see, C. Can we get a C from this? No, the best we can get out of this is F. So F tier is the Volcadius, Peregrine Mail, Phoenix Mail, Nathaloric, Ice Wand, Dragon Gem, Sandstorm Bow, or Flame Bow. And again, everything's really, really kept where it should be. So even though, yes, these are elemental weapons, you usually get them right at the very end, this isn't going to be like some massive leap in power. Now let's see, you can't get any D-pool items in this. I know if you beat all, you get 3. Sorry, I'm just still looking over this, trying to see what could potentially be useful. Because it is still possible that with the... Like, it says Ring of Flotation, but... maybe it is Hover. But I forget if Hover's actually in this game. Let me double check real quick. Hi there, Polar Bear. How's it going? Alright, so Ninja ran away, as they do. I don't think they're going to let us take advantage of this water here. And yeah, they're 15. Wow. Yeah, it basically... trying to fight anything here is going to be kind of nuts. I mean, there's a small chance if we surround the leader we can do something. Like, realistically, you're not expected to do anything this early. I'm just double checking right now if the Ring of Flotation's actually even worth going for here. I'm pretty sure it is just the water one. Yeah, it's just water walking. Which I don't think it raises their elevation any. Because even on that last one, moving up 2 elevation wouldn't have actually changed anything. And as you can see, outside the water, we do 1 damage. So that's a sign of good things to come. At least on the plus side, this is a pretty safe minigame. I say pretty safe, like the later ones you gotta place a bet on. And sure, there's ways to avoid it, but that's just cheesing the game at that point. Playing OB64, never did a Bisky Karth run. Gonna do a dog run. Friggin' love OB64. So, still hoping to be able to route in 64 into this one. Because both Lucked and 64 have weird issues about turning all your characters into other stuff. For the Fire run, it went well enough. For this one, it'll be fine. But yeah, for 64, trying to turn everybody into Lamias for the purpose of this didn't go so hot. Not at all. We'll see though. I mean, if I can figure out how to get both of the other two working properly by then, in terms of not having any. Wait, how's that balance mod going? Which one? The 64 balance mod or the lucked one, or the other lucked one, or the Knight of Lotus one. 64. Seems like it's still going on. I mean, they still they have new versions coming out pretty regularly. I haven't kept as close tabs on it as I probably should, admittedly. Supposed to be reporting on this stuff and all that, but no. But yeah, no, they still come up with new versions every now and then. So I'm gonna go ahead and say well. Mostly, my interaction with it lately has been I just show up, I download the latest version, and continue playing it, and it's still good. So, you know, that's a good deal there. Grand total of 12. Oh man, they only need to hit them, what, 20 times. Now, throughout this one, we're never going to get to the point of being over-leveled in the main story. It's just not a thing that happens. Like, once you get your brief advantage early on, you just retain that bonus forever. Just unless you're swapping people in and out, you're pretty much always going to be over-leveled for this game. Again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it still holds up pretty well. Like, especially in terms of damage and things like that. A level disadvantage or advantage is usually only going to be a difference of like 10 or so damage. Once you get into the extreme end of things, you know, it ends up going a bit higher. In this case, the difference between just 1 and what we're already doing is still only like 20 damage. So, interesting rubber banding there. Just how this game works. Alright, 33. Yeah, it's still technically winnable, I suppose. Yes, I realize how stupid of a move that was. And yeah, to kind of further elaborate on the previous question over whether anyone can change anything or can other classes be used, unless it's strictly required to progress or something along those lines, I'm going to say everyone's locked into the whole mermaid thing and no other outside help is required, so no going and hiring fairies for war god emblems and that kind of thing. If they can do it somehow, good. If not, you know, here we are. Which probably the second best way to do that is this particular map. This one wizard guy who can potentially be hit for 200 if you're over-leveled enough, which that's a long ways off. Mostly I just wanted to test and see how this fight goes, because I couldn't remember exactly. It's been a minute. Alright. Now to just go ahead and lose by going and punching this random unit in the face. Sure. And Claymore to the face. Okay. So, that'll be that. Anyway, so that's all I have time for today. So thank you guys for stopping by. Next time we'll be, well, probably getting to the actual Mermaid v Mermaid boss fight. Then the time after that, we'll probably be getting towards the volcano. The time after that, we should be getting up to Heaven's Gate, and then the time after that should be completing the game. But okay, so you guys have yourselves a good one. Take care, and I will see you then.